Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Old Dogs. This is a 2009 film. It's an hour and 30 minutes long, and it stars John Travolta and Robin Williams, along with Seth Green, Kelly Preston, sheesh, come on, why can't I say it? Oh, Bernie Mac shows up in this, Matt Dillon shows up, there's a whole lot, Rita Wilson, basically, this is a kind of movie that can't or usually isn't made anymore. Why? Because most theaters tend to be predicated on like big spectacle type films. This is a comedy involving middle-aged men, and that's even the premise of the film. It's not just middle-aged men shooting guns and fighting aliens or superheroes. It is literally just middle-aged men dealing with their middle-agedness and a sudden curveball thrown into their lives when they least expect it and they least want it. Basically, I'm not going to give away everything, but the premise is these are two best friends, Robin Williams and John Travolta, and they're bachelors. They've grown up. One's a player. Travolta's a player. He's pretty much knocking it out left and right. Robin Williams, however, is kind of been always to himself. He was married for a time. They were both married for a time, actually, and they got divorced. And on the day of Robin Williams, I should say his name is Dan in this, day of Dan's divorce, John Travolta plays Charlie. Charlie takes Dan off to Florida, and they just get crazy and get a tattoo across his hairy chest. They have to shave it. That's also misspelled. Basically, all sorts of craziness happens, and Dan gets married a second time, and then divorced a second time within 24 hours because it was a drunken mistake. Move ahead 7 years later, suddenly the woman he met, by the way, played by Kelly Preston, who is, at the time, John Travolta's wife. She has since passed, unfortunately. Jiminy Cricket, she's a gorgeous woman, and especially in this film. And she's funny, and she's also she's not in it a ton, because the point of this film is that 7 years later, Robin Williams, Dan, discovers he's a father. Yeah. To twins, a boy and a girl, fraternal twins. And also, by the way, one of the twins is actually played by, I think, John Travolta's daughter. Yeah. It's basically one of the situations where not a whole lot of actors get to do this. So when you have enough sway in Hollywood, you can literally produce a film that casts all your friends. Casts friends or people you'd like to have work with. In this case, it's just comedians and other actors that you want to have in your film. And in this case, also Seth Green shows up as kind of like their executive assistant to the two guys in their business, which is very successful and has a chance to do some big things. But it's of course, it comes into conflict with Dan suddenly having children. And the reason why she shows up at this inconvenient moment is that, well, she needs to go away for reasons I won't explain just yet, or at all. This is also the kind of comedy where there's a ton of contrivances, like so many. And it's also the kind of comedy that is just a series of scenes where people make really bad mistakes for comedic purposes, where nobody ever makes a mistake where things actually go bad. They just are embarrassing, they're silly, they're slapsticky, they're just, it's a comedy. You got Robin Williams in it, and of course he plays a button-down guy in this film. Thankfully, part of the way into the film, and it had to be something that the writers are like, okay, Robin Williams needs to be Robin Williams at some point, and they have a contrivance where he's a human puppet that Charlie has like a remote control suit, and then he can force Dan to move the way he moves, to show him how to loosen up so he can be a better father to these kids. Mom has to go away. And so Dan is left with having to take care of these twins for approximately 2 weeks or something like that, for a good period of time, at least. And and of course, because something goes wrong, Amy Sedaris shows up also in this for one scene. And since Dan lives in an adults-only community, having children is a big no-no, and he has to move in with Charlie, and that brings everybody into the same house, along with an old dog, a dog that is Charlie's only real true companion throughout life. And the dog just pees everywhere, just does whatever he wants, and Charlie does not mind. And yeah, it's old dogs, and they're all old dogs, and it's a lot of jokes at the expense of their age. And I don't know how old they are in this thing, but it's 2009. Maybe they were in their 50s at this point, late 40s. I don't know. No, it had to be more than that. Either way, there's a lot of grandpa jokes where nobody believes that Dan is actually the kid's father, and of course, like, just other weird sequences where there's a problem, it's funny, and it seems like it would have some sort of devastating effect on somebody, and then in the next scene, when that sequence is over, everything is back to normal. Maybe they've learned a little something or grown a little bit, but for the most part, it's just like, okay, that's done with. We're moving on to the next embarrassing scene for this character. Yeah, and there is a seriousness to it to a certain degree, but for the most part, this is 95% comedy. Again, lessons are learned, and you kind of know where this is going. He's a guy who's never really put himself into a relationship, except for maybe, his Dan's first wife left him. I don't know. And he really, to get over his depression, that's what leads to all of this. And Charlie taking him to Florida, having him get married and impregnating a woman, and it's a Disney film. And yeah, is it a Disney film? Yeah, I don't know if it's a 20th Century Fox thing or not. No, I think it's a Disney film. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's not like it's a great comedy, but you got great comedy icons in Robin Williams and John Travolta. Welcome back, Kotter. Come on. Mork from Ork. Come on. That's a 70s team up that you've always dreamed of. Come on. Well, he wasn't Kotter. He was one of the students. Yeah. Anyway, it's oh, this is how old I am. By the way, also, I forgot to turn on my Pac-Man notes. Sorry. That just seems weird not to have those on. Anyway. Are you expecting to watch a film where just wackiness ensues, big gestures are made? Oh, by the way, poor decisions are made, and then big gestures are done in order to settle things in the end. Do you choose your work over the family you never technically wanted or pursued? He never had kids of his own in the first place, so now he's, an old dog. Why would he have kids now? It's, again, like I was saying here, it's the funny thing is Dan, Robin Williams, is dating, impregnating, and sharing children with Kelly Preston, which is John Travolta's wife, and one of the kids is actually John Travolta's kid. Her name is Ella Blue. And yeah, Lori Loughlin also shows up in this. And also, the only thing that really, really bothers me in this thing is the CGI that's done to stretch their faces into this mad Joker-like smile because of some medication he takes. Like there's a medication that makes you just go, and it's like the final joke of the movie as well. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, Louis Guzman shows up and Dax Shepard also show up. Like again, it's just cameo after cameo of different people, either at the early stages of their career or people, and you recognize them now, like, I know that actor. This is a small role he had, or people who are just in the vicinity of John Travolta, who put this thing together. Basically, I think. I don't know. It's oh, there's all like a sequence where that whole no consequences kind of sequence I was talking about, where things go bad, and then when the scene is over, it's no longer there. It's like Robin Williams gets a tan because it's supposedly that he looked tan the last time he saw his second wife, and when she comes back into his life, Charlie convinces him to get a tan, spray tan. And of course it goes out of control because Charlie's flirting with the girl who's in charge of the tan, and then he has to go out, and Robin Williams has to go out in public looking very brown. And Indian guys walk up to him thinking he's Indian, and Latina women come up to him thinking he's Latino, and then black women look at him like, I think you're doing blackface or black body. I don't know what you're doing, but it seems offensive. So, yeah, there's comedy, and then he goes on the date, and then at the end she's like, "Oh, you should get rid of that tan. I have some special ways to get rid of it." And the next scene is literally him without a tan, like he's in the same clothing, and yeah, they shortcut a number of things in this, and yeah, it doesn't work like in the real world. Like suddenly the kids are dressed up in their like a scout camp kind of thing, and like, oh, hey, you're supposed to take us to camp. What? And then suddenly the next scene, both Dan and Charlie have camping outfits like the kids have, and they're at the camp, and yeah, where'd you get that? Like, you just go to the scout store, and like, again, if you try to make it make sense, it's not. One of the other people, I can't find his name. Why can't I remember his name? But you'll recognize him anyway. Matt Dillon plays a camp counselor there, and one other guy, I don't know why my brain will not remember, but you'll know who I'm talking about. He gets to basically super act, like, I think he just ad-libbed a character. He just overdid his character to funny effects. So yeah, this is a Walt Disney film. It does say that. I just found that out. And there's this whole thing, like, if you look at the thumbnail for this, there's, Seth Green is being cradled by a gorilla, and I'm like, where is a gorilla in this entire film? Oh, it's in the final sequence. It has nothing to do with the main film theme. Is it gorilla themed? Are there gorillas in this? Yes, there's a gorilla in this. And I imagine it was a man in a suit, but it's really well done. It feels like it's a Stan Winston studio kind of thing. And they pump as much pathetic terror from Seth Green as possible in this. It's just funny people being funny. Is it a great film? No, it's not really a great film. Will it make you laugh? Is it appropriate for kids? Yeah, it's appropriate for kids and adults. There's a nut shot here and there with a golf ball, and there's just lots of silly bits throughout with actors and love. So, yeah. Can I recommend that it's a must-see? No, it is not. It's not a must-see. But if you like these actors, you'll get a kick out of it. And that's all I can really say. It's I don't think I would have ever watched it if it hadn't come up in this whole experiment that I've been doing for the last 5 years. But hey, I remember it being advertised so often back in the day, back when it was 2009. God, I think I saw the trailer every single time, but I never saw the movie until now. So if you like these actors, you might get a kick out of it, but I don't think it's going to change your life. Just saying. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 200. Wasn't this just 99? I guess not. Come on. Oh, we did have 199 recently. And we have another 200 is also from the same people. This is technically a short, but I don't think it's a short. It's more like a special episode, a special mini movie kind of thing. I don't know how long it is, but we'll find out when we watch Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel. So we get the Phineas and Ferb favorites along with Marvel characters in one animated special. Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.